Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iOS today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Password Manager LastPass was bought by LogMeIn. Is it still safe to use?
Plus, researchers say iOS apps may be snooping on you.
And Minecraft Story Mode, magic or mundane?
On iOS Today! iOS Today is brought to you by Texture, the mobile app that lets you access the world's most popular magazines anytime, anywhere, using your phone or tablet. For your free 30-day trial, visit texture.com/iOS. And by lynda.com, the online learning platform with over 3,000 on-demand video courses to help you strengthen your business, technology, and creative skills. For a free 10-day trial, visit lynda.com/iOS today. That's lynda.com/iOS today. And by Wealthfront. Wealthfront is a low-cost automated investment service that is the most sophisticated way for you to invest your money. Whether you've got millions or you're just starting out, visit wealthfront.com/iOS today to sign up and get your free personalized investment portfolio. That's wealthfront.com/iOS today. Yahoo! Welcome to iOS Today, Leo Laporte.
Yes. Megan Morrone.
And this is the show where we talk about iOS.
It is. The iPhone, the watch,
iPad,
the iPad,
the watch.
all the iOS things.
Yeah, and soon an iPad Pro, I hope.
Yes. When can we order it?
We didn't. You can't.
I said, when can we order it?
I don't know.
When can we?
Apparently coming next month, though.
Right, yeah.
So.
I think you can order it at the end of October, I heard,
Okay.
and then it'll arrive.
Would you keep an eye on that?
I'm keeping an eye. I'm keeping two eyes
You're
on it.
going to get the big one.
I am.
Because I'm going to keep using the mini. I think that's what we decided, right? Because yours is the oldest of the three.
Yes.
So it's your turn.
I win.
Yeah, you win. Good for you, and I think it'll be fun. I can't wait to see. And make sure you get the pencil, too.
Okay, I will.
You want to get that keyboard as well?
Well, sure, why not?
Why not?
I want all the things.
Why don't you spend Leo's
It's part
money?
of our job. It's part of my job.
Go to it.
You buy things, so the rest of us don't have to.
Right. No, and I get to play with them, which is nice, too.
Yes, exactly.
I am up in the air about whether I want it personally. I'm not sure because it's big, right? And
is big.
I like the
Foot-long.
the iPad I use right now is the iPad Mini, which is just, to me, that's just kind of a perfect size for reading and even for games and stuff. It's fine. Although now that I'm using, come on, unlock. Thank you. Now that I'm using the iPhone 6s Plus, which is almost as big as the Mini.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need the iPad quite as much, but yet there are some things where just a little bit bigger would be nice.
Yeah.
I feel like yours, I'm looking at your iPad Air, it seems like it's too big.
Too big? I don't think it's too
And then,
big. Because if you're going to
look
watch
at
a
that
movie
puppy.
or something, yeah.
Look at that puppy.
That's actual size.
It will be on an
today-
iPad Pro.
Yes.
All right.
And I hope he doesn't eat the pencil. That's what I'm gotta keep it out of.
No, he's not eat the pencil. That'd be silly.
That would be silly. That $100 pencil. We're gonna talk about password managers today.
First of all, you got to have one.
Yes,
Period.
You do. You do.
We're not even gonna say maybe or possibly. You must have a password vault. What does a password vault do?
It keeps your passwords all in one place, secure. So more secure than the iCloud. Is that's my big question.
I don't know if it's more secure than the iCloud, but the point is, nowadays you need many passwords.
So many.
I have 1,000. In my password vault, I have 1,429 passwords. Most of them I don't use all the time,
Yeah.
but many of them I do. And who can keep track of them? So the temptation is, and I bet you do this, to come up with one password that's easy to remember that you can use on all your sites. You shouldn't do any of that.
Yes.
First of all, if you use one password, a single password, on multiple sites, if any one of those sites gets hacked or compromised, and that does happen nowadays, then all of your sites are vulnerable. And don't think a bad guy isn't going to get your password on one site and then not try it everywhere else. The other thing is, easy to remember is bad too, because that means it's probably not a very secure password. The best passwords are totally random, long. I mean, I'm talking 10, 15, 20 or more characters, whatever the you know, sometimes a bank will only let you use 12 or 16, but I use the maximum whenever possible. And if I don't know what the maximum is, I'll use 24 or 30. I really like a long password. Longer is much, much better. And combination of upper and lowercase, punctuation, and numbers. Well, no one's going to remember something like that.
No, it's impractical. That's why you need one. A password manager.
In fact, it's even hard to come up with them. So a password vault does a couple of things. I'm using those words interchangeably. It'll generate new passwords for you that are long and strong, and it'll keep track of them. You still have to remember a password, but that's the password to your vault.
Right. And some of them will even tell you if you've already used that password. If you're not buying into the generated long password and you just have this super secure password, you're just like, oh, I'll just use this one. It'll say, you know, you've used this before.
So that's the first thing we recommend, and some do and some don't, is a password manager that has a security check that will warn you about that.
Right.
It'd be nice if it also made it easy to change passwords. It'd be great if it worked on all your devices, and that's the difference between your solution and a password vault. You said, why don't I just keep my passwords on my iPad and my iCloud? And it's true, you can use the keychain. That's a secure password vault on all iOS and Macintosh devices, but it only works on iOS and Macintosh. So if you were to ever want an Android phone or a Windows computer, you wouldn't be able to use those passwords.
Why would
there.
I ever want that?
You're right. What am I thinking? No,
I get it.
It's
I mean,
fair to
it's
say
yes,
keychain
yes.
in conjunction with iCloud is a good solution.
Yes.
There are other things. It does autofill on your Safari, on your browser.
But what if you use Chrome?
But if you use a different browser or you use apps, you know, remember many passwords have apps. Facebook, for instance, many apps have passwords. Facebook's has a password, right?
And it won't do that.
And your keychain may remember your Facebook password, but it won't autofill it and things like that.
Yeah.
So a vault is a great convenience. It solves a lot of security issues. It's a little tricky to get it set up at first, and maybe a little challenging to think of, oh, this one place that has all my stuff. That seems risky, right?
It does.
But the alternative is what, putting it in a notebook in your drawer, or writing on Post-it notes on your screen, or trying to remember it. None of those are good alternatives.
Well, you know, I used to think that putting it on a piece of paper at your home was actually safer than carrying it around on a document in your...
It is.
It is safer, but now we have too many passwords for even that. It's over. You can't have a piece of paper that's like a roll of paper.
My mom kept it in a notebook, and as long as you don't go to the house, it's fine.
Yeah.
You don't want to bring it with you so that you can log into your phone, because that means you might lose it, and then you're really in trouble.
I mean, of all the apps we recommend, I think that we don't often say you need this, but you do need a password manager.
Yeah, I think everybody should use one. It really is a part of your security.
So iCloud won't generate passwords like...
It does.
It does.
It does. It has also a password generator. I don't know if it does it on the iPad. It does on the Macintosh. So here's the one we've been recommending for a long time. It's called LastPass. It's great. It is not pretty. Okay, it's kind of geeky, and I think maybe for me that was one of the reasons I really liked LastPass. Is it's kind of feels like a security guy wrote it.
Yeah.
Which he did. His name is Joe Segrist, and he did a brilliant job. And one of the reasons, you know, I've recommended LastPass literally since it started, and I've been using it since it started. But we had Steve Gibson look at Password Vaults, our Security Now host, some time ago, and he talked to Joe. Joe let him see some of the source code, and Steve gave it his full seal of approval. He said they're doing everything right. And in fact, even since then, for instance, a couple of months ago, we talked about it. Joe sent out an email to all LastPass customers saying, we aren't sure, but there is evidence that our systems might have been breached, and it's possible, we don't know again, that might have downloaded the database of customers. This doesn't mean they got your password vault. It doesn't mean anything but that they got your password information, and we've encrypted it, so even though they got it, they can't really do anything with it. Nevertheless, and even though we don't have full proof that this happened, the proper thing to do is to notify you immediately. They did. And to tell you to change your master password and turn on two-factor. And this is, by the way, another great feature of a good password vault, is it won't just be password driven. They'll also have a second form of authentication, whether a text message to your phone or a secret key, an email to you. And that means that an attacker would not only have to get your password, but he'd also have to get your phone or get your email address. And that makes it all the more safe. Joe did the right thing. He told people immediately, and he told them how to fix it. And to my knowledge, no one has suffered in any way any problems. So even when bad things happen, that's part of the measure of a good password vault is that they let you know when there's issues and they fix it and they tell you what to do about it. LastPass has been, in every respect, a great solution. All the conveniences you want, it automatically works on all your devices, including Windows and Android devices, and Windows phones even. Linux it works on. It works everywhere, basically. Blackberries. But it also has all the convenience factors. It supports Touch ID. I noticed your thumbprint was coming up there.
But you don't have Touch ID on
I
there.
do.
So.
I'll show you.
Okay.
So when I log in, it's going to say, okay, that's your password. By the way, you shouldn't do what I just did, but I have it remember my password because I feel like even though it's got the password, as long as it says, what's your fingerprint, then I know that nobody's going to be able to use this. I keep all of my passwords, 1,400 and some passwords in here. These are favorites, the one I use the most. But more than that, this is another nice feature not all password managers have. I can keep secure notes in here, things like social security numbers, driver's licenses. I keep passport images in here. You can put images in there. And that's really great. All my credit card numbers. That's a better place than putting it in a notebook. This is highly secure. It'll also fill in credit cards, which is great. So these are the credit cards, and I have all the credit card information. Again, I trust it. You're going to hear the word trust a lot in a moment. And when I am on a website and it needs a credit card information, I can fill it in directly. It fills in automatically from LastPass. Now on iOS, because Apple doesn't allow LastPass to autofill, it's a little different, and we'll show you how that works. But on desktop and on Android, it actually fills in the forms for you, which is fantastic. So I'm a big fan of LastPass. In every respect, I feel like LastPass is the right thing. And this is where trust comes in. I really trust them because you have to trust whoever this company is because they do have access to your stuff. Now, LastPass can't read my passwords, they say, but you have to trust that that's the case. You have to read how they do it and everything, and that's exactly what Steve did. And then ultimately, you do have to trust them, that they're not pulling any shenanigans in the background.
But do we still trust them now that they were bought by LogMeIn, a company that I don't have any experience with, but from what I've heard, not necessarily not a company that you want to trust, but a company that's changed the pricing structure on things in the past.
People are not fond of LogMeIn. They did an acquisition some years ago of an open project called Hamachi, a lot of people used, and killed it basically. So there is a little bit of nervousness about the company, and that's the point. You have to now decide, well, I know I trusted LastPass. Do I trust LogMeIn? They're the owners. We talked to Joe Segrist on Security Now last Tuesday, and he really reassured me. He said, you know what, I am committed to your privacy. I'm committed to keeping your trust that we've earned over these years. And believe me, I'm not going to let LogMeIn do anything that would be bad for you. But he did get a $125 million payday. And you know, when somebody joins a new company, you and I experience this. You know, you always have the optimistic point of view that everything's going to stay the same. For now, my attitude is there's no reason to abandon LastPass. That we'll know. There'll be you know, something will happen. You'll get a sense. Joe will disappear, for instance. The minute Joe Segrist leaves LastPass, I'm out of there. So, because I trust him. So there might be some indicators. But for now, LastPass still is the best. On the other hand, if you've never used a password vault, we have some good alternatives for you. And if you're starting from scratch, maybe don't start with LastPass.
Oh, that's what you say. You don't start with LastPass.
Not if you're starting from the first time at this point. If you're already on LastPass, as I am, and by the way, we use it at business. We have the enterprise version. My wife uses it, and one of the reasons she has to use the same one as me is because it makes it very easy to share passwords. She says, what's the login for our Comcast account? I just press a button on LastPass. She's got it securely shared to her LastPass. So you want to use the same one as your spouse and your coworkers use, but if you have no investment in LastPass, yeah, maybe don't start with LastPass. I have some other ideas.
Okay, well, there's 1Password is the other big one. Is that
well, there are many big ones. There's 1Password, there's Dashlane, there's Encryptor, which might be the biggest, but that's mostly because it comes free on some Android phones. There's Keeper, there's Sticky. I've tried.
What about Post-it? Someone in the chat room was recommending Post-it.
I think he means Post-it notes. I don't know. Is there one called Post-it? There are more than a dozen, and I've tried about 7. Of course, there's certain things that will be non-starters for me. It has to be completely cross-platform. It has to be a trust no one solution. In other words, you know, one thing about a Keeper that worried me is they have a secret question system for password recovery. That bothered me. I wrote to them, and they explained to me how they do it. They say, yes, you would have a secret question, you would supply the answer. That's always a weakness because social engineering, bad guys can figure it out. But then he says, and then the next step is, we will ask you for your second factor authentication number, and we'll send you an email to your known email address, and you need to verify both of those before we'll give you your password. I consider that okay.
Yeah.
So they're doing the right thing, but there are things you have to look at. And not everybody knows what to look for. I wouldn't blame you if you said, well, I don't know which one's good, so we're going to tell you.
Okay.
What one do you use?
I use LastPass. That's the one I use. I found it difficult in the beginning.
Yeah.
I had not used one till I came to work here, and you said, yeah, use LastPass, and I thought, oh, this is so confusing. It is a little bit confusing, but it's doing a lot. I thought that I didn't realize what you were talking about, that auto login. You can't auto login. You have to go to LastPass, copy your password, and put it into an app.
There is a way to do that a little bit easier. It doesn't work everywhere. And LastPass becomes part of the share sheet. So let's see.
Well, because I'll show you one where this is what I do for like Instagram.
Okay.
And I have Instagram as only.
And you're right, for apps, I think you do have to do that.
So Instagram, here it is. I think I need to log out here first, which for some reason Instagram makes that's the most difficult thing. They never want you to log out. Okay.
Never log out.
Yes, I'm sure I want to log out.
Uh-oh, now what are you going to do?
Okay, so here's the password. Nothing's, there for me. So then I have to go to LastPass here, and I use my Touch ID.
Right.
And then I just look up Instagram here.
My mom did use a notebook, and then she thought, oh, I'm going to be digital. I'm going to put it in a file called passwords.txt on my desktop.
Don't look, so you can show my screen now. I just click copy password, and then I have to go back to, and so I have to do that, right? I mean, I'm not doing extra work, and then I just have to hit paste.
On apps like that you do.
And then, so it seems like
that's not so horrible.
No, but I just thought I was doing the wrong thing, but that's what you have to do for those apps.
And that's pretty secure, because notice it had to have your fingerprint.
Right.
The first time you use LastPass on a new platform, turn on two-factor authentication. You'll have to give it your second factor. That could be in an email or a text or a phone call. Those things make a big difference, so do use those features.
Well, the other thing I like about LastPass, it has an Apple Watch app.
Right.
And I have used that in the sense that if you are away from your phone or someone else is using your phone, you can have access to your passwords there. And then, of course, they're on your wrist.
Until you take your phone off, obviously.
Yes, till you take your watch off.
Watch off, I mean, yeah.
Right, so if someone grabbed my wrist and made me enter my password and then got to my LastPass, please don't do that, that's not very nice. But if you did that, then you could get and then copy them. You can't copy them, but you can
have to handwrite
them.
right?
You have to type them in.
So let me show you, maybe you don't know this, but if you're on, this works in Safari and could conceivably work in some apps if they have a share sheet.
Oh, right, yes, I have seen that.
You can add LastPass to your share sheet, okay?
So that works on the web mostly.
Yeah, well, anything with a share sheet. So I'm going to go to More, and I'm going to go down here. And you maybe didn't know this, but you can add other activities to sharing. In this case, I'm going to turn on LastPass. And once I've done that, LastPass is now built in to my browser, in effect. And so when I go to a site that has a login, of course, I still have to do the authentication, which is really good. I can now, without leaving the browser, get my login for Pad and Quill and paste it in.
Okay. So
and by the way, I don't mind that it keeps asking me for that.
No, I don't.
See that? Now that's nice. Now, this is another thing I really want to bring up. Save this password in iCloud Keychain for auto-fill in your devices. I have mixed feelings about this. Keychain is secure, so you could say this, but there are some browsers like Chrome, for instance, that will also save passwords, Safari on your desktop, where they're not saving it securely. In fact, you can look and read your passwords in plain text on Chrome. The Chrome team says, well, that's because if anybody has logged into your computer, you're dead anyway. So we're not going to make it extra hard to see your passwords. I'm not sure I agree with that. But I, as a practice, do not save passwords in the browser. Now, I know that's convenient, but it is not as secure as using a password vault. So I'm always going to say never when it asks me. But now I've logged in, and that was fairly transparent. And from now on, I can do that because I've added it to my share sheets. LastPass will always be there as part of my share sheet. So I think that that's, for the browser anyway, that's a pretty good compromise.
Yeah.
On Android, it does fill it in. This is because Apple just doesn't let a third-party app have access to the login fields.
Got it. Okay, so 1Password is one that I have used in the past, and I just never got it really set up because I already have LastPass and I like it just fine. But it does a lot of the same things. You can save those secure notes. You can save credit cards. You can do the autofill. Like, I don't really know what the difference between 1Password and LastPass
I
is.
actually...
you can take a look at my screen if you want to see what it is.
1Password has been around for a long time. I didn't use it at first because it was Mac and iOS only, but they have really become a mature product. They now support cross-platform in every platform you want to be in. If you are setting it up for the first time and you're an iOS user, I would say use 1Password. The company that owns them, Agile Bits, I absolutely trust. They're a great company. They've been doing this for a long time. So trust is, again, very, very important. And they do everything right. In fact, they do one thing that I kind of like better than LastPass. The one minor vulnerability, and Steve Gibson's pointed this out of LastPass, is in order to make it so that you can use your LastPasswords on every device, they have to store a copy of your password vault on their servers at the LastPass headquarters. Now, it's highly encrypted. It's done in exactly the right way. It's what we call salted and hashed and highly encrypted. However, an attacker who was able to download all the password vaults and then beat on them on his own leisure on his own systems could conceivably brute force his way, especially if you didn't have a good, strong master password, into your LastPass vault. So there's always a little risk when somebody else is holding your password vault. 1Password does something very interesting. They don't ever hold your password vault. They do allow you to use iCloud. If you trust Apple, that might be a good choice, or Dropbox as a synchronization
Oh, right,
spot.
so that's where, yeah, you sync.
But they even have something which I think, while less convenient, might even be better. See, sync with Wi-Fi. You can have the master password vault stored on one of your Macintoshes or Windows PCs. One and only one, by the way. So one of your computers will be designated as the master, and then you get that password vault onto all your other devices by Wi-Fi syncing. So when you do it that way, it's a little less convenient because the password vault is in a location in your house or at your work, but no one else has your password vault. And I kind of always wanted LastPass to implement this. I've asked Joe why not. He says, I don't want to do it. He's not going to do it. But that is, for somebody who really says, no, I want a trust no one solution, that is a great way to do it. So in some respects, I think 1Password might be better. Now, Dropbox, you know, they're storing it in a secure fashion. It's encrypted. But remember, that means that Dropbox employees have access, presumably, because the way Dropbox works is not trust no one. So maybe stick with iCloud as your syncing platform, unless you're using Windows or Android, in which case iCloud won't be a good solution for you.
So this one browser, is that, I don't have to use that to, because that was what, you used to have to use a LastPass mobile browser, didn't you? But you don't have to.
No, life is better now. The share sheets make that better.
Do you have to do,
I love it that they have an Apple Watch app, same way as LastPass does. You can see your top 3 or 4 passwords on there.
So is one browser a more secure browser, or you just?
No, you don't need to use that.
Okay, good.
But it's a browser with 1Password built in, so it'll automatically autofill the passwords. The other thing I like that this does that LastPass isn't immediately obvious, maybe it does it, correct me if I'm wrong, you can have multiple vaults. So you can take...
Both primary vault, yeah.
You can have additional vaults, which means you can take passwords you rarely lose and use them, have a separate vault, or have passwords you plan to share with your family, have it in a separate vault, as many vaults as you want. I like that. I think that's a really interesting way to play. There is one issue I want to bring up with 1Password. A Microsoft security researcher, not so long ago, found out that the way LastPass 1Password stores your password file is a little bit not so private. The passwords are private, but the sites you log into are visible in plain text to an attacker. That could be embarrassing. He uses as an example my favorite porn site. Maybe you don't want the world to know you log into my favorite porn site. So this is a little bit, I don't care, but it's a little bit more perhaps something to be aware of. There are 2 different ways that 1Password can store your vault on Dropbox or iCloud. One is secure, and it's the default, and one isn't. So I don't know how to tell. This is a fairly complicated thing to do. I'm going to go to I bookmarked this, so let me go to my Pinboard site. Oh, I have to log in. Isn't that a pain? So now I go to actually this will be a good demonstration. Nope. Cancel. I'm not going to add that to my grocery list. I'll show you though how we do this. And it says LastPass, okay, unlock it. And it says, oh, you want to log into Pinboard? Yes, I do. Unlock it. Doesn't like my right thumb. There we go. Not now. And I'm logged in, and let me see. Here it is. 1Password leaks your data. This is a guy named Dale Myers. You could Google this article, but what he points you to, and he explains, and it's kind of complicated, frankly, but what he explains is that the default password storage is perhaps not as private as you would like. Instead of the Agile keychain, you should use something called OP Vault, and you can find out how to do that on the 1Password site, and how to switch to the OP Vault format. I did that. It is a command line and terminal. This is why I love why I love LastPass. But if you have a beta version of 1Password, there's a simple menu item that will do it. But in the distributed version, you have to do this command line thing. It's kind of complicated. You cut and paste it, and I was able to do it. And I switched over to OP Vault. The synchronization on Dropbox is great. It's fast. I said I have 1,400 passwords within 30 seconds. They're on my iPhone, they're on my Android device, they're on my Windows. The one other negative on 1Password, it's pricey.
Yeah.
So if you're just getting it for the Mac, what did you say, $30?
I thought you said $40.
It's 40.
Josh said $40.
I bought the $41 Windows and Mac version because I run Windows and Mac. I want it everywhere.
I thought it was $29.99 when I looked today.
They have a bundle. And so for just Mac, $29.99. And that's as many Macs as you want. If you want Mac and Windows, $41. Again, they have a deal right now. A lot of these companies do because they're trying to get LastPass customers.
Right.
And then it's $7 per platform. So iOS, $7, Android, $7. So I just spent 41 plus 14. I spent about $55. That's lifetime, but it's still a little bit pricey for the premium version, the pro version of 1Password.
Right. And LastPass is free on the first device you use it on. That was confusing, but if you start on the iOS version, you get it free.
If you want it on mobile, you're going to pay for premium. That's $1 a month, $12 a year. I think that's a good deal.
I think if they just did a deal where you could get LastPass for free on mobile if you didn't have it first.
Oh, good.
And then you had to pay for the desktop version.
You're going to want, look, one of the reasons you want to pay for these
is
you want to keep these companies in business.
Right, and also you need both. You're not going to just
and you don't want them to sell to somebody else.
Right.
So pay them. I think AgileBits has every intent of keeping 1Password to themselves. You can never know, never say never. But I do trust them. They've made a product that has all the features that I think you want, including two-factor authentication, easy sync, Wi-Fi sync, which is something even LastPass doesn't do. It works on every system you want, except for the fact that it's expensive and you have to do this kind of weird OB Vault change. I think it's a very good choice. Did you try any others?
Dashlane.
That's also very popular among Mac users, I think.
Yeah. So
what did you think?
Again, didn't seem better enough than LastPass to switch over. Although they don't make it that difficult. So it's a password manager. It's secure notes, same thing. Again with the browser, I guess it's like a secure browser. It has you can keep your credit cards, your receipts, which is interesting. Your personal info. The IDs, I know they all do that. It's really interesting because I feel like so many people ask you to send pictures of your ID so often, and then you take the picture and you leave it just on your iCloud, which is super dangerous. So, but then you need it so often that that's why you're tempted to leave it there. So it's nice that you could hide it there.
I love to keep those passports, for instance, in my LastPass vault because if you go overseas and you lose your passport, having a copy of it will really help you get a replacement. I know this has happened.
Yeah. So premium Dashlane's $39 per year. Now, did you say $30 per year?
No, one time only for 1Password. So Dashlane's expensive.
They do a few other things, like they'll go. They have a browser. It'll scan your computer just to make sure that you're secure all over your computer. So
does 1Password. They actually have a very interesting program to monitor you for security flaws. Which is great. So these guys are understanding that they're not just password vaults, they're security companies, and I think in all cases they're doing a good job of that.
Yeah.
It's really a matter of trust. Who do you trust? I think Dashlane is fine.
Right.
Functionality maybe not quite as good as 1Password or LastPass. I think if you are a new person using this for the first time, I think 1Password is a very good choice.
Yeah.
Especially if you use iOS, because it's beautiful. They have custom icons for every account you have, and they're pretty good at figuring out which account to apply the icon to and things like that. It's actually prettier than LastPass.
So you say if you have LastPass,
Stay with it for now.
Stick with it.
Yeah.
If not, start with 1Password. If you have something against 1Password, then
I will mention one other thing that 1Password does very well. It will import your LastPass database as is. So, and this is another thing. Always make sure that any password vault you use has an export, so that you're not locked into it, because you're going to put a lot of data in there. You don't want to manually re-enter that. So both 1Password and LastPass and Dashlane do, and LastPass's export can be read natively by 1Password. That makes the move to 1Password very easy. So that is another good thing about 1Password.
Yeah,
Really,
I just said
doing a
it
good
was
job.
easy to move over Dashlane, but then I don't know exactly how you would do that. So I would say it's
I think
not
there's an
easy.
import. You have to export out of LastPass, and I don't know if it will automatically input it, but
I don't know. That's just asking me to do them individually, which I have no interest in doing.
Right.
But yeah, probably.
Look at
will
the
let you.
import commands. See, I also, I paid for all of these. I bought Dashlane too, and I decided I didn't like Dashlane. I knew a lot of people who used it, and I thought, oh, this must be good, and I'm not crazy about it.
Yeah.
I think 1Password, after looking at everything else out there, 1Password seems to do everything right, and I know AgileBits is a trustworthy company, a trustworthy brand, so I think they're on a par with LastPass, let's put it that way.
All right. Well, if you have suggestions of other password managers that you like, you can send them to us at iOS Today at twit.tv. And you want to talk about texture?
I will. This is a little confusing.
I said, what's texture?
Because we've been talking a lot about Next Issue.
Yes.
And this is just a rebranded. They decided to change the name to Texture. Get a text.
Oh,
Sure.
Text. Sure.
And you can go to texture.com/iOS if you want to sign up. We've got a 30-day free trial for you. It is, and by the way, they've added new features too. It is, the easiest thing is to think of it as like Netflix for magazines. You pay a monthly fee and you can read all of these different magazines. The best magazines, Fortune, Fast Company, Newsweek, Rolling Stone, Wired, and more. Magazines that would cost you thousands of dollars a month if you subscribe to them. But no, you don't have to. You can get them all, access to all of them, on the Texture app, which is beautiful, by the way. It's very much the same experience you'd have reading the magazine. They even get the ads. And I have to admit, most magazines these days, I don't want to read the whole thing cover to cover. I want to read one article. Rolling Stone, there's almost always one article I want to read. Vanity Fair, well, there are a couple articles usually I want to read. New Yorker, same thing. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes People and Entertainment Magazine and Us Weekly, I kind of want to browse through those too. Texture's top stories and new and noteworthy sections are updated 24/7, and will give you, a quick way to find stuff you really want to read. The app will automatically download your favorite magazine so you can read it on the airplane, and you get immediate access. So it's including back issues, so you don't have to save your magazines on a shelf in your basement. I remember I had a friend whose mother had every National Geographic on a shelf in the basement. Huge amount of space taken up, and boy, you don't ever want to move. No. With Next Issue, you get them all. Yeah, they got National Geographic. I just love it. It's just really, magazines are great. We don't want to get rid of magazines, but we do want to make them more convenient, and you've already got the best magazine reading device in the world, the iPad. Texture, try it free for 30 days. Texture.com/iOS, and download the mobile app so you really get the experience. Texture, texture.com/iOS.
That would make a great holiday gift to anyone with an iPad, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming up.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Last minute holiday
Yeah,
gift.
we used to remember, in fact, I used to get National Geographic as a subscription every year, right, for my grandma. For about the price she's paying for that,
right.
I get like hundreds of magazines.
Yeah. It's great because
formerly Next Issue, now Texture.
Yeah, because Grandma always wants to give you a magazine, but it's never the right magazine. All right, so we teased this at the beginning of the show. There was some news. Source DNA said that a lot of apps were sneaking into the Apple App Store, and they were snooping on you. They were using Yumi SDK, which was an advertising device that really didn't at all meet Apple's standards that they usually have for letting apps into the App Store, and they were taking a lot of private information. It was 256 iOS apps. That's
an awful lot, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was on Source DNA, Ars Technica. That's where I saw the story today. But you say maybe this isn't really that accurate or nothing to worry about.
If it's a problem, of course, Apple will immediately remove those apps from the App Store. So that's step one. And Apple, by the way, has a kill switch. They can, if it's really bad, they can remove it from your iPad or iPhone as well.
I don't think they're doing that. They are removing it from the App Store.
They should
did
remove it
update
from the App
that this
Store.
morning, but not from your. And nor have they said what apps they are. As of this morning when I saw this story. One McDonald's app in China for like a McDonald's app for Chinese speakers. That was the only one they said.
In many cases, that's what these apps
Yes.
are. That's why you chances are don't have any of these apps. And also, I'm not sure exactly how personal the information leaked is. But this underscores a really important point, which is the App Store, Apple wants you to believe that they check every app. And of course they do before they release in the App Store. But this isn't the first time. We've seen this time and time again. It's not hard for an app to obscure what it's doing or to do something that Apple doesn't see, and for an app to sneak into the App Store. I mean, the best you can hope for is exactly this. Once it's revealed that these apps are doing things, they'll be deleted from the App Store. But as always, you want to be a little careful. Probably don't want the Chinese McDonald's app. You want to be a little careful about the apps you install. Mainstream apps from mainstream players are always going to be safe. So I think the real upshot of this is not that this was a huge issue and the data that was given up. It's not your passwords. It's not, it's nothing that you really, credit card numbers. It's for advertisers. It's information about you, right?
Right.
But what you really should remember is that the App Store is not perfect. And so normal precautions still prevail. You got to be careful about where you get stuff from. Apple does its best. And pay attention to these stories because as you point out, Apple can kill it but doesn't in many cases.
Right.
If it's really a threat, they will. If it's like a hack tool, they will, and they've done that in the past. That tells me it's not as big a deal as one might think, because Apple is not deleting it from your device.
Right. Not yet.
Not yet.
So we have a few stories about the innards of the iPhone. Intel has 1,000 people working on chips for the iPhone.
1,000 people.
1,000 people.
What does that even mean?
That was my question for you, Leo.
Well, Intel's not in this business yet, and that's one of the things that's driving Intel crazy. Intel makes chips for mobile, but they've never been as popular or, frankly, as good as the ARM-based chips made by companies like Qualcomm and Samsung and others. And almost all mobile devices use ARM-based architectures. Even Windows Phone uses ARM-based architectures, not Intel. So Intel would very much like to get into this business.
They want to oust Qualcomm? Is that what's going on here?
Absolutely. This is big bucks. And more importantly, PCs are not going to be the thing forever. And Intel's probably a little bit worried that their business, which is based mostly on PCs, could be at risk to mobile devices. If you're not in mobile nowadays, you're nothing.
So does this mean anything to the average iPhone user like myself?
No.
Good. Okay.
No. No. There's another chip story that I want to lay rest to.
Okay, let's.
The issue of which chip is in your iPhone.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So Apple has always bought its chips, its processors, the A7, A8, A9 from Samsung. But this year they decided to diversify a little bit, which makes a lot of sense. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. And so they used a Taiwan silicon manufacturing company, TSMC, to make some of the chips and some of the iPhones. There were a number of articles over the last couple of weeks saying, oh, if you got the Samsung chip, you got robbed. The TSMC chip is so much better. It's not. It's not.
How do you know?
There is a way. I mean, I can show you. There's a program, a free program called Lyrium that's really kind of a junky program. In fact, this is exactly, if you'd asked me before, what programs not to download because they might be harmful. You take a look at this. I don't recommend it, and whatever you do, don't pay for the pro version. But you can tell Lyrium does pull up information that is not readily available, including your model number. And you can see, you should put it on yours to see if you've got a good chip. I have N66AP, not MAP.
Okay.
That means I have the Samsung chip. By the way, immediately then erase Lyrium because it has no other value to you. But it is a free program to let you know which chip you have. If you have, the TSMC chip is a little bit bigger. Is it bigger or smaller? I don't even remember. I think it's a little bit bigger. Or is it smaller? One of them, I don't remember.
One of those two, for sure.
One of them's bigger, one of them's smaller. One of them supposedly has better battery life. A number of reliable companies have been testing these, and uniformly they say, well, maybe a percentage or two. Nothing you would notice. So don't worry, you didn't get robbed if you got a Samsung chip. I have a Samsung chip in mine. Are you going to?
I'm
You're
downloading
installing it?
now.
I'm curious to see what you have.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of link bait you see a lot where somebody finds this out and says, oh, wow. Okay, there it is right there. And you have,
Ooh.
dang you.
Did I get the better one?
You got the supposedly the better one. You have the
I
Taiwan.
had to wait 3 days. I got this 3 days. Which
see
one
that?
is
The
it?
little
Where
M
is
in
it?
there? And at the very bottom, the model number, see N66M. You can't make it bigger. Just trust me. I can read it. MAP. That means you have the TSMC chip.
Okay.
Bully for you.
Awesome.
You might have a little bit better battery life.
I'm going to delete this now.
Yeah, I would. I kept it on mine just so I could show
Just
people.
so, yeah.
So, yeah, if it's easy to remember, it's M for Mo Better.
Okay, well, I have another story which I found interesting that happened over the weekend or on Friday. The University of Washington research arm, they won their patent suit against Apple, $234 million.
Yow.
Which was fascinating. And I talked to Joe Mullen from Ars Technica about this on Friday because, you usually hear about patent people going after either giant companies or they're patent trolls. So what happens
This
when
is not a patent troll.
University of Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation.
So when you work at a university, the work you do very often is owned by the university. For instance, Google was owned by Stanford.
Right.
The Google guys had to kind of buy out Stanford, and Stanford still gets money from Google. Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah.
Yahoo too, because Yahoo started at Stanford. So generally speaking, even if you're a professor, but if you're a professor or graduate student and you invent something, the university generally owns it. In this case, I don't really know the patents had something to do with microprocessors.
Yeah.
Intel was also sued. Intel settled, so they didn't go to court. Apple decided not to settle. In fact, Apple fought it just as you would fight a patent troll. The first thing they did is they went to the Patent and Trademark Office and said, this is not a good patent, let's invalidate it. And they got a big strike against them because the USPTO said, nope, it's a good patent. That makes it very hard to win in court now because, of course, the lawyers for the other side go in front of the jury and say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as you can see, this patent has been awarded not once but twice to the University of Wisconsin. This is a good patent. The jury agreed. A couple $100 million for Apple. It's a day's worth of iPhone receipts. It's not a big deal. They'll pay it. They'll move on.
One thing I found interesting, though, I don't think the University of Wisconsin is a patent troll, but they are covered under a lot of the same laws that patent trolls are. A patent troll is somebody that doesn't do anything else except for go on, after patents. And we're not saying that the University of Wisconsin is doing nothing else, nor is the University of Wisconsin Research Arm Foundation doing nothing else. They're doing other things, but it is interesting because you wonder, why did they create why are all these laws for these people that can have a storefront and just go after people to make money, and this is why, because it makes sense. So I thought that was interesting.
It's odd that Apple fought them, to be honest with you. It was this patent was issued in 1998 on the behalf of a computer science professor and 3 graduate students. I'm not qualified to judge whether the thing they invented was unique, but the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office twice agreed it was, and the jury did. So I think that I don't think you can call them patent troll. I
wasn't calling them patent troll.
Well, not, but others who have. I don't think that's quite fair.
Yeah, I was just saying it's interesting then why, because I've always wondered why were these laws created?
The professor said they put 11 years of work in to solve this problem and create the patent.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we don't use the word patent troll, it sounds so bad.
Yeah, no one wants to be called a troll.
Another commonly used word, even by people involved in patent troll litigation, is NPE, non-practicing entity. And essentially that's a patent holding company. That's somebody who either bought a patent or, as in this case, invented something they never made and then go around licensing it. To me, a patent troll is somebody who never even invented the thing, but bought the patent with the single goal of going around and licensing it, and suing people if they don't license it.
Right.
I don't think you could say that's what the University of Wisconsin is up to.
I am not saying that. All right, if you want to study something, you can do it with lynda.com.
Well, yes, you can, and I'm glad you mentioned that because today, lynda.com is a sponsor of the show. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. That's why I said that, because they're sponsoring the show. For those who didn't know.
You are so smart. Actually, lynda.com is great. I've learned a lot from lynda.com, both for work, for pleasure, to get a better job, to get better at your current job. Maybe you, I don't know, if you're curious, you like to learn, there's no better place. lynda.com. Maybe you want to take better pictures, or maybe you want to learn how to code, not just necessarily professionally, although, you know, right now being a coder is probably the best job you can get, but just because it's a fun hobby. I love coding. Maybe you want to just get better in Photoshop so your photography will look better. It's all there. You're learning from the people, the best people in the world, the people who do this for a living, who are great teachers, whose enthusiasm comes through in these very professionally produced videos. They have courses now. They work with the publishers so that they get these courses out as fast as the software comes out. They already got a tutorial on the new features of OS X El Capitan, OS X El Capitan Essential Training. They have an overview of the new features in iOS 9, and all of this you can see for free if you're a Lynda subscriber. You get access to all of the stuff. So if you're, say, I don't know, learning Final Cut or Adobe Premiere, or you want to get better at Photoshop, and then you say, oh, I noticed they've got a tutorial on iOS 9, you can take that. It's all part of your subscription. Maybe you want to improve your business skills. They've got great business stuff. Up and running with Office 365, up and running with Word for Mac 2016, just came out. Already they got the training. Wow. That's because they've been doing it behind the scenes. They knew it was coming. But their courses also, I think I should do this. Maybe you should do this. Avoiding burnout, managing conflict, and working remotely.
Oh, those are all good. Except for the working remotely.
You worked remotely for 10 years, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I would not like to do that again. Are
No.
you trying to tell me something?
No.
Okay, good.
No, actually, they're more for me. Avoiding burnout. So they have soft business skills as well. Resume making, everything's great. She looks like she would be good at helping you avoid conflict. She looks smart. She looks fair.
It's actually healthy and contributes to the growth of the individual.
Conflict
and
is
organization.
healthy. Healthy.
The first thing
Good
to
to
know
know.
about conflict
Healthy.
is your own relationship to it.
So you're going to learn, these are beautifully produced. You're going to learn at your own pace. You can watch the course beginning to end, or you can just do bits at a time. If you want to learn about living with integrity, you just click that part, you jump right to it. Create and save playlists, of course, you want to watch, customize your learning path, share it with friends, colleagues, team members. It's all there at lynda.com. They've got written transcripts too. lynda.com. Unlimited access to training on hundreds of topics for one flat rate. More than 3,000 videos now. So whether you want to become an expert, or you're passionate about a hobby, or you just want to learn something new, go to lynda.com/iOS today and sign up for your free 10-day trial. lynda.com/iOS today. Lynda.com, the best.
So
the
if you think
best.
you're a patent troll, go to lynda.com, learn a skill, and then you will
Get
know
out of
for
that
sure.
bad business.
To program something and
Or-
create a product, and you know.
Or living with conflict.
Right.
Because you will be.
Right, exactly. All right, this show would not exist without people like yourself sending us emails. Sometimes it's answers to questions, sometimes you're asking the questions. I got an email from Vicky, and Vicky said that she works at a low vision, she's a low vision consultant for a community in rural West Tennessee. She sent us this map.
Oh.
She says, I was looking for a way to get back and forth from school instead of using the main very busy highway to get back and forth from the schools she goes to as a low vision consultant. She said, I rarely use maps, and previously I've used both Google and Apple Maps because they see that every street is, they provide different information for me. And this week I used Apple Maps. I was pleased to see that every street was correctly labeled and even driveway connections showed on my map. Remember, this is rural. Some of these driveways are dirt roads. This is way out in the middle of nowhere. Cotton, soybean, cornfields are everywhere. Maps originally gave me directions using the highway, but when I went on the first back road, Apple Maps gave me correct information to my destination.
Bravo.
I was very impressed and delighted as well.
I'm actually glad to hear that. Remember how horribly reviewed Apple Maps was when it first came out? They were sending people into the middle of the ocean and things. But that's because this is a hard thing to do. And Google's been at it for many years. This was brand new for Apple. But to Apple's credit, they improved very quickly. They did the work. They hired people. They bought databases in some cases. And Apple Maps has gotten better and better and better. And I think at this point, they add just, with iOS 9, just added transit directions as well.
Maps for
I think at this point,
rural
Apple
and
Maps
city.
is every bit as good as Google Maps. I use Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, and Here. Those are the 4 different mapping programs I use depending on my mood. And I think they're all excellent.
I think
it's
they are.
probably not a bad idea to check if you're going on a new route.
Right.
Maybe with more than one, just to see if there's anything. Some of them are better at getting updated. Because Apple Maps has so many users, I think they're probably getting more and more accurate all the time as people fix errors, things like that.
Right. Well, Thomas Smith from Idaho, Thomas recently came to visit us in the show. He was the guy with his friend. They were going to the Canopy tours afterwards.
Oh, yeah, right.
He says, I was recently thinking it would be great to have a segment where your audience sends in the practical or helpful ways they're using their iOS device on a daily basis, and you can call it iOS My Day.
My Day.
He said, recently I visited California with a college buddy, and we were in your audience for the July 20th episode of iOS Today. I've attached a simple Pages doc with some links to iOS and Apple Watch apps I used on my travel day.
Nice.
And I will show
Thank
you that.
you.
It was very cool. Let me make sure
That's
I still
great.
have it.
I
buried
would
in
love
here.
it if people would share
Okay.
stuff
Here it is.
like that. That's great. Oh,
So
look,
you
he
can
made
show,
a nice
I know,
one.
he did. He does not nice. He made a
In
little
the old
graphic for
days,
us.
maybe like iOS My Day.
This is Pages he used to create
Yeah.
this.
In the old days, you might have used had a blog.
Yes, you might have in the old-fashioned days.
The olden times.
So this is cool. So here's all his Apple Watch apps. He uses Tune Time. Have you ever
No.
used that? That's good for HIIT. Last week you were talking about the HIIT, the exercise. That's what he does. It's for
high
intervals.
intensity interval training.
So then he uses it to turn on his lights. He uses his Apple Watch. He uses his iPad Air 2 for his morning meditation, Headspace.
Love Headspace. Use it myself.
And iBreviary. That's a word I just missed.
iBreviary.
Breviary. That's for praying.
Yeah, Breviary is like a little prayer book.
Right. And then he uses the Blue Link, because you recommended that he Dash to track his trip engine.
Oh, I love that, yeah.
and-
Dash or Automatic, who our sponsors, is
Right.
another company that does that. It's really great.
He's doing a little bit
So
of
that's
listening
cool. So
to
Blue
Apple.
Link will watch his car while he's driving. Nice.
Yeah, I guess on his Apple
You
Watch
could do
too.
a remote start.
So thank you for all this. And if anybody
How could
else,
we share this though with the world?
how could we? We could. That's a good question. How do you put a page up there?
I think it'd be a great
You
blog.
mean-
It's a shame Apple killed iWeb, because that would have been a great, easy way to just take the Pages page and put it on the internet.
Right,
Nowadays, I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be a good question. There he is with his buddy.
Yep, we came to see
Thanks
the
for
show.
visiting.
And then, yeah, so I think I loved this. And if anyone else wants to say, you don't have to create a whole long Pages, but if there's a couple
tips
apps that
are
you
great.
use in your
Yep.
regular day, and you can post it on Twitter with the hashtag iOS My Day, and then I can find it there, and then we can talk about how
We've
you
just
use.
invented a new segment.
Yes, iOS My Day. Well, Thomas Smith from Idaho actually
I have an
invented it, but
iOS My Day.
You do?
I just got, remember I talked last week about the pad and quill?
Yes.
I just got it for my iPhone. I was looking for something that would be stylish, wouldn't look kind of high tech. And now this is over $100 because I got it with my name on it. And doesn't it look like a little notebook that you'd keep in your pocket? But actually it's my iPhone. Pad and quill uses really nice hand-stitched leather and wood, believe it or not. That's a laminated wood case for the phone. But what I was looking for something I could put my credit cards and my driver's license and my cash in. This is going to replace my
really
wallet.
like that.
I don't think you really need this, but it's kind of, it makes it feel like something pretty good, like a breviary.
But right. But now
Yeah.
if you turn it over, will your phone fall out? Like if you open it up?
No, it's
is
a pretty good fit in there. You're not
Oh,
gonna
that's
fall out. In
good.
fact, that's why they give you this little thing, which I didn't apparently. Oh no, wait a minute, that's just decorative. I thought this was maybe to
Like
pull
it
it
looks
out.
like a bookmark. It's
just
like an old
it's
journal
just decorative.
bookmark.
Yeah. In fact, now I don't know how to get this out. No, I just
stuck
push
in
it out
there
like that. So
forever.
it's in there pretty well. That's a pad and quill. And then one other thing I wanted to show. I showed you the the MV88 microphone from Shure, the one with a lightning port that you just plug right into your iPhone or iPad. But Shure, this is a whole new line of microphones from Shure, the Motive line. And if you've got the Motive app, you can also use this microphone. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
It's very
Styling.
retro looking.
And it's got a little stand. The idea is you could stand it on the tabletop. This adjusts, so you could change the angle. What's nice about this, yes, it still works just like the MV88 by Lightning, so I can plug it in to my iPad and use the Motive software with it and control it. It has not as many different settings. Let me unlock this here. You know, my fingerprint doesn't work as well sideways. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to record it again. Let me open the Motif software, and you can see it'll recognize the microphone right away. There's the mic gain there, and I have all sorts of settings I can change. And these settings are dedicated to the mic, so it even knows what mic. And the mic also has those settings on the front, so I can use it to record voice, music, guitar, speakers, or just plain old flat. One of the things that's nice about this, because you have a longer USB cable, I could have my iPad or iPhone somewhere and put this, you know, where the speaker is.
Oh, right.
The quality is excellent. Shall I play back? I had a little. Let me just play back one of the recordings I made here, because I think the quality is excellent.
You'll need to take out the lightning.
Oh, that's right. We found out you can't do it with this plugged in. So then we'll go to record. All right. And my recordings, we'll play this back one more time. Shall I compare thee to a summer day? Thou art not so prompt.
Yes.
I can't remember the rest.
Thou art not so.
You're talking about me. I'm too prompt. Too prompt for your taste.
You are too prompt for my taste.
So that is really, that's as good as this microphone. It's a really good, they say it's a large, says a large diaphragm condenser mic in here. This is heavy, feel that.
Yeah.
This is nice, heavy metal. Don't you feel like
Yeah.
that's like well made? I just think this looks great. For a band recording, for a lecture recording, or maybe you want to do podcasts. This would be a great tool for podcasting. Make this your microphone, plug it into your iPad or your iPhone and record. A little pricey, $200. The other reason I like this is because it also works with your computer. You can use a standard USB connector with this. And it'll work with, I believe it'll work with an Android device as well. So this is kind of an all-in-one microphone. It turns into a USB mic when you plug it into your computer. And they have Motif software for Macintosh as well. So I just wanted to mention this. This is from Shure. This is the MV51. MV51. So that was iOS My Day.
That was your day. Excellent.
I got a couple of new things I wanted to show you for my, I think this is beautiful. I'm going to use this.
I got another email from Jill. She says, last week you all slammed Apple Music. This week you are slamming Apple News. She meant last week.
Oh, that's terrible.
I think you need to rename the show Alternative to iOS so we know your POV bent.
No, wait a minute.
Sincerely,
No, wait a
Jill.
minute. Wait a minute.
I just thought I would read, you know, not just read the good ones.
Don't you want us to tell the truth? When
That's
something's bad,
also-
we'll tell
yes.
you it's
and
bad.
it's not alternative to iOS because we're not saying use this Android news
There
app.
are better
There
news
other-
apps out there,
There are
right?
news apps on iOS, but I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
People love iOS and they don't want to hear anything critical about it.
So there are different kinds of podcasts in the world. There are fan casts where people just go, I love it, and we're not that. We're trying to help you get the most out of your iDevices by telling you what's good, what's bad, how we use it, how we recommend you use it. Let me just check. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe news is great. Check out the Lenovo Yoga. Microsoft adds to. Wait a minute. What is going on? Uber is using Microsoft's. There's no iOS stuff at all in here. It's all about Microsoft. U.S. home builders are the most confident. Existential GIFs. It'll make you question your daily grind. None of this. Awesome Airbnb rentals. Norway wants to ban cars from its cities. None of this is of interest to me.
Yeah.
At least I'm not getting the Detroit weather report anymore. And maybe I need to use this more. I customized it as much as I could. Here's that 1Password story, though. That's good. 1Password leaks user data via cloud feature. So maybe there's one good thing in there. But I don't really care why Hideo Kojima left Konami. I don't. I'm sorry.
Well, it is. I mean, there are.
Wait a minute. Mistrial declared in the Dewey and LaBeouf case? Holy cow! I just feel like news. I don't know what went wrong with Apple, frankly, on this one, because it just. So in other words, I'm going to tell you, you can do what you want.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like, because I think it's important that you know.
And what I said is that Apple News app is fine. And what I said about Apple Music is it's also fine. I want it to get better. I have faith that it's gotten better. I said I was subscribing to it. So, but yeah, I love all your feedback. So.
I tell it like it as I see it.
You too.
I'm not a fanboy of anything. Wait a minute. I'm a fanboy of this. Look, I've got my new microphone.
They put it up on the.
Winchester Cathedral, oh dotty, oh do, you're bringing me down. How do you like it?
I like it. And
Oh,
once you can hold it
dotty,
like
oh.
that, it's so much better.
Yes. No, I know it does that. Isn't that nice? Now I could sing the blues.
Yeah. Yes, you could. You
Yeah.
could.
Since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell.
That's what I was looking
it's
for.
down on the end of lonely street. It's Heartbreak Hotel.
No, that's nice. Thank you for uselessly putting that on the mic stand. No, he wanted to show, and you're right, John wanted to show, this also has a standard adapter that fits on the mic stands.
They
It
know
even
their
comes-
sound.
Yeah.
All right, well, you can email us good feedback, negative feedback, whatever you like.
I love hearing
read
it all. You can tell me
iOS
the bad
Today
stuff.
at
That's fine.
twit.tv, and you can call us 757-504-iPad. And this episode is also brought to you by Wealthfront.
You know everything, don't
I
you?
know all the things.
Wealthfront actually is really, really cool. In fact, I don't think you can use it either, but I can't use it.
No, I can't use it. I was told I could not. I wanted to, too. That was
want
the first
to.
thing. They explained it to me, and I thought this is the perfect solution to
Federal
what I've been looking
regulations say that customers cannot endorse a product, a financial product. This is such a cool financial product. I want you to know about it. Here's the deal. Wealthfront is automated investment. It is computer software that is investing your money and doing it with very sophisticated strategies created by some of the smartest guys out there, the guys who literally, quite literally, wrote the books on investing. People like Burton Malkiel and Charles Ellis. Burton wrote the incredible, well, there it is, the incredible, go, keep going, one more, a little bit, up, random, right there. Random Walk Down Wall Street. Charles wrote Winning the Loser's Game and The Investment Guide. These guys put their knowledge into the software, and I'll tell you why you want to do this. First of all, investing for your future is important. I don't think I have to tell you that. You need to have a retirement investments. You need to have rainy day fund. Maybe you want to buy a house. You're saving up to get the down payment. But how are you going to do it? Are you going to manage it? No, you don't want to. And don't treat the stock market like a Las Vegas casino. You know, bet on winners and losers. That's not the way to do it. Of course, you could go get a financial advisor, but they're expensive, like 1 to 3% of your investment every year. Plus hidden fees for transactions and changes. That's crazy talk.
You could watch that old movie Trading Places to learn about the stock market.
Yeah,
You remember that?
just do whatever Eddie Murphy says.
Yes.
No, go to wealthfront.com. You could start with a minimum of $500 so you can really find out what they're doing. And they do stuff that's so sophisticated, things like tax loss harvesting, direct indexing. They'll reinvest dividends. They diversify it automatically. What they do is, in fact, if you go there right now, you get a free portfolio designed for you so you'll know what they would be investing in. Wealthfront.com/iOS today. What they do is they charge you 1/4% a year. I mean, that's nothing because computers, that expensive. So, 25 basis points. There's zero commissions. There's no hidden fees. I'll give you an example. If you had a $30,000 account, you'd be paid about $5 a month to manage it. An active management that's going to get you the best possible returns. No wonder they've grown 20 times in the last 2 years. Now $2.6 billion in client assets under management. And you could start with as little as $500. They'll ask you a couple of questions about your time frame, how adverse or how much you like risk. And then they'll automatically give you that portfolio for free. Wealthfront.com/iOS today. The software, and they have phone software, tablet software, desktop software, will tell you everything they do on your behalf, every trade they make, so you know exactly where you stand. And as a little bit of a sweetener, if you go to wealthfront.com/iOS today, they will manage your first $15,000 in investment free of charge. And not just for the first year, forever. So you're really going to get a good deal. Wealthfront.com/iOS today. For compliance purposes, I have to tell you, Wealthfront Incorporated is an SEC-registered investment advisor. Brokerage services are offered through Wealthfront Brokerage Corporation, member FINRA and SIPC. This is not a solicitation to buy or sell securities. Investing in securities involves risks, and there is the possibility of losing money. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Please visit wealthfront.com to read their full disclosure. Wealthfront.com/iOS today. This is how it should be done.
All right, this
Hat
is the time
time?
in the show where we wear funny hats.
This is not a funny hat. I beg to differ.
We wear hats.
This is a Uruguayan. This is the helmet that was used in the earliest days of the NFL. That's when men were men. No, this is a Uruguayan, typical Uruguayan hat. You're wearing your Marty McFly
I'm wearing
topper.
my Marty McFly hat for celebration of Back to the Future Day, which is
Day after tomorrow.
Wednesday,
Yeah.
day after tomorrow. That was the
Are
day.
you wearing
that
your
they-
pants inside out too?
I'm not wearing my pants inside out,
Okay.
but yeah, if you want to see this whole costume and Leo's Doc Brown costume, you have to
Oh,
watch
was
the
that
screensavers.
crazy?
That, yeah.
I did a whole show dressed
You
as
did.
Doc
You let people let us interview them, talk about serious topics, and I had a whole.
We looked. You didn't look that crazy. You just looked like you thought you were a teenage boy.
Yeah.
But me, I looked
You looked
insane.
pretty. You looked insane. The best shows are when you're dressed in an insane costume. We wear these hats because this is the time in the show where we do the app cap.
There you
which
go.
There we are. Yep.
And you had a hoverboard.
Yeah,
I
and it
wish-
worked.
It was amazing.
I sold it for $2 billion.
Oh man.
No, it didn't work.
No, it didn't do nothing. Didn't even roll.
No, you couldn't even stand on it.
Couldn't even stand
It looked good. It was a
It's
good
a prop.
It was a good prop. So this is the time in the show we wear hats, not necessarily funny, and we talk about our app cap, which is the app that we've been using this week. It's usually our favorite app, but I wanted to mention an app that is not my favorite app, but I wanted to talk about it with you, and that's that Minecraft story mode.
Minecraft story mode. Now your kids play Minecraft,
My
right?
kids live Minecraft.
Now
yes.
is it Huck and Finn or does Annabella?
Milo.
Huck and Milo. Huck and Finn. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It happens all the time.
Huck and Tom Sawyer. No, Huck and Milo do play Minecraft.
They play
but
Minecraft.
not Annabella. Is
No,
she too old?
she I think she was maybe a little bit too
grew out
old,
of it,
but
yeah.
yeah, she doesn't. But they do.
So this is kind of a different thing. This is not the game Minecraft. This is what they call story mode.
This is a story, and it was $5.99 for this app.
For one chapter,
For one
and then
chapter,
there's
and
gonna
you
be
have to
more
pay
chapters,
More.
yeah.
So we can watch a little bit of it.
Do you
It's
interact with it at all?
A little bit. It's a choose your own adventure type game. So it has the look and feel of Minecraft. You get to choose your characters. The story was fine. Let's see if I tried to log into the cloud and have it save. Well, it did save.
It
so
did, good.
Let's continue episode 1. That's probably better in fair use since we don't start from the very beginning.
We've got all the stuff for it. We are so ready.
This year, it's going to be different.
Doesn't it sound like the
I'm
guy
not
who
just
plays
ready to
Woz
build.
in the Steve Jobs movie?
I'm
I
ready
don't
to win.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Nice pig. Losers.
So this would definitely be for the
great.
younger
There's
younger
Lucas in the
Minecraft
Not
players.
not the 12-year-olds, probably.
No,
More like the
not
8-year-olds.
even maybe. My kids,
matching leather
my
jackets
10-year-olds watched it for a while. They were sort of interested, but they would rather play the game.
Yeah.
And
Or if they're going to watch something, watch PewDiePie or Minecraft videos.
watch someone else playing the game.
Watch someone
They
else
would-
playing the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Like
This
you're
is-
just, it's a story, but I'm not saying that it's not my cup of tea. It's not my children's cup of tea. I'm not saying it's not anyone's cup of tea. I was waiting and playing to see if one of the choices come up to what to do next. They come up in little bubbles.
But
Okay,
it
there
really
they
is
go.
a story. Okay, so what
we're
do we
We're the
choose?
Nether Maniacs, we're the Order of the Pigs, or we're the Dead Enders.
Oh, you get to choose the name of the
Order of
the
the Pigs.
gang.
Yeah.
No name?
No names?
Oh, if you don't
Got it.
choose fast enough,
Great.
then it chooses for you. So I guess I wasn't fast
you
enough.
You guys are in booth 5.
So that's what happens if you don't choose. It gives you an alternate not choosing. So
This
you got
is
to be
not.
fast.
But of course, I'm not the audience, but I don't find this that entertaining.
But you said Michael didn't find it that entertaining.
no,
and-
I asked him. I said, "What about story mode?" I said, "No."
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't.
So
that
you don't get
interested.
to. You can move. Yeah.
It is
you
pricey.
can move. Yes. So you can.
This costs
tap
like
it
what a
to move.
major motion picture.
No.
No?
It's $4.99. You can all play it. If you all 5 of you are going to go to a
What's the
movie. that costs-
what's the replayability on this? Are you going to watch this over and over?
Not, maybe if you're like 4 or 5 years old,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'd be interested. Email if you have someone that's really interested in this. Let me know. So you can. But so my thing about Minecraft,
What is your thing?
Why they love it so much, because I think about it a lot, is that you're in control. And
Yeah.
kids, that's what
It's
kids
Lego.
want. Kids, yeah, it's Lego. They want to build. They want to be in control of their world, because when you're a kid, you're in control of nothing.
This
And
is
so that's why games are
the
exciting.
Lego movie compared to Lego.
The Lego movie was awesome.
But at least
though.
that was a good movie.
So this is fine. The voice acting is good. The writing is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, for $4.99, if you already have Minecraft, and Minecraft is really an endless world. You don't run out of things to do in there. You never do.
No, it's amazing. Yeah.
So it wasn't that great.
It feels like maybe an attempt by Microsoft Mojang to capitalize on Minecraft. Let's see
Yeah,
how much.
so-
They spend a lot of money. They
Right.
spend billions of
Lots of people are going to buy this because lots
Yeah.
of people play Minecraft. It's by a company called Telling Tales.
Oh, this is a Telling Tales.
And they did
My
they
first
did Walking
Telling
Dead.
Tales. Yeah.
They did Walking
So
Dead
is it the
too.
same plot? Are
As
there
The Walking
zombies?
Dead, there are no
No?
zombies. But yeah, Karsten said he.
Does this kid like it?
No, he hasn't played it yet, but he liked The Walking Dead Choose Your Own Adventure game.
Yeah.
But this maybe because you can have a more adult plot. I think it's hard because there's such a range of ages of kids that play
Right.
Minecraft. Like how are you? And I think they just aim towards the bottom.
It's an attempt to do something.
Yeah, it's fine.
You know, certainly worth knowing about. Ask your kid before you buy it.
Right.
See if he or she's
Because they might,
interested.
yeah.
in it.
Because if you just, it's like throwing, $5 away if you don't. Like
This is a great thing. And I think either Sarah or I picked Ticket to Ride in past shows. There's a whole board game movement. Things like Settlers of Catan, we were talking about that before the show, which they're modern board games. A lot of them come out of Germany. They're beautifully crafted. They're complex, fun games to play. This ain't Parcheesi or Monopoly. They've got lots of little pieces and stuff, and there's a lot of strategy involved, so they're really fun. What's interesting is because there's so many pieces and they're so complex, they can be a little daunting, especially for first-time players. I tried to play Settlers of Catan with Michael and Lisa, and it was fun, but it was complicated, and we had to spend a lot of time reading the manual and stuff. So the iPad versions of these games are actually a great introduction to these games. Maybe even a first step to playing them at home on the board around the table. Wouldn't that be great to get the family to play together? So Ticket to Ride is one of those, and one of them that's widely considered a classic. I'm playing the iPad version, which is, what did we see? What was the price? It was a few bucks.
Yeah.
You said $6.99?
I think it was $6.99 for the full.
But for a limited time, the Pocket Edition, which is for your iPhone, is free. So now would be a good time if you've been intrigued by this game. I have to say it's a great iPad game, but if you have an iPhone 6S, it's big enough to play this. You can play by yourself or you can play with others. They have in-app purchases. You can get other boards and stuff, and that's, I guess, how they're going to get you excited about this.
Well, the iPad version is $6.99 and also has in-app purchases too.
Yeah, both of them have the same in-app purchases. So the goal is, as this says, to score the most points by playing, it's a card and little pieces game, markers pieces, by playing train cards from your hand and claiming routes. As with many of these games, it's all about gaining territory, and the person who has the most territory is going to win. I'm not going to play the game. It's a lot of fun. I still don't quite understand it, so I will not be the person to show you the ins and outs of this. It's a turn-based game, which means if you have it on an iPad or even on your phone, you could play this with another person, just turning around, let them take their turn. But you can also play a computer, as I am doing here. People love this game. I've played it as a board game, and it really is a lot of fun. And the iPhone version, which they call Ticket to Ride Pocket, is free right now, and that is the main reason I wanted to mention this. We've picked it before. Sarah and I tried to play it. Didn't have much success. The sound is great. The style is great. Kids and adults will love this. It really is a good game. It's more for kids. I think your 10-year-olds would be able to play this just fine. 12 and up would be great, because there is a lot of strategy and thinking about this. This isn't the old-fashioned kind of a board game. And right now, for a limited time, the Pocket version is free from Days of Wonder. I think it's a fabulous, fabulous game. And what do they say for ages there? They say rated 4+, or no, that's just the ratings. I'm saying a 10-year-old could play this game. I think a 10-year-old.
So not
in fact, you
as
should try this
difficult
with the
as
boys.
Settlers of Catan, but more difficult than Candyland.
Settlers of Catan is maybe not as engaging. This is more fun, and I think probably better for the younger set. And certainly, when you're doing it on a iPhone or iPad, a lot of the hard work is eliminated because it kind of helps you with the mechanics and the accounting. I don't like games where there's too much accounting involved.
And you don't have
these games
to
tend to
keep the cards. That's the thing. We always lose all the
Oh,
cards.
you lose
because they get
cards.
upended when someone gets mad.
These are all little wooden pieces. You're worried about losing some. Look at all of these. And you got to have them all. So it's good. I like it. Great game. Ticket to Ride, not the Beatles.
Well, that's all we have for today's show. That's all the iOS stuff we've got. And remember, use the hashtag iOS My Day if you want to share something on Twitter.
I like
or
that
Google
idea.
Plus.
Yeah.
and-
What have you used that works for you that you really like?
Oh, all the things I've talked about here. What,
Yeah,
what do
I wasn't actually asking you. I
Oh.
was just asking that.
Really? Let's just start over with the show. Episode 1. Here are the things that I like.
What do you like?
You are looking at me. What do you like?
That's what we want to know. Thanks for being here. I'm Leo Laporte.
I'm Megan Morrone.
We'll see you next time on iOS Today. Bye-bye.